Every year, Sunrise International publishes a white paper to review the changes we saw in the past year in China's educational landscape and to predict future trends for those working in international education in China. Here's a quick preview of some of the topics we explored in our recently released 2020 to 2021 white paper. First, China's economy is returning to normalcy and even grew modestly in 2020. Beijing and Shanghai's economies are growing again, as are Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, regions that account for much of the growth in China's international education market. While online recruitment events dominated in 2020, offline college fairs are returning, with representatives and alumni at recruitment fairs and school visits greeted enthusiastically. More than 70 private sector college fairs and expos are planned for 2021, including those run by Sunrise. Meanwhile, preferences for study destinations are evolving as families place greater emphasis on safety and predictability in a host country. Consistent with the trends we've identified over the past few years, new international schools continue to open in China despite unique pandemic-related setbacks. Of the 53 new international schools that opened in China last year, 75% were in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. Agents had a tough year in 2020, with 20% of them going bankrupt, particularly among mid-sized companies. However, student numbers and revenues are recovering this year because the pandemic has added complexity and uncertainty to the university admissions process, pushing some families to seek extra advice. Given the rise in remote learning, the education technology sector is booming, with massive growth in users and investment. At Sunrise, we're keeping a close eye on developments in the edtech space, as edtech companies consider entering and disrupting the testing and assessment space, as well as the traditional recruitment agency business. The test-optional admissions movement gained momentum during the pandemic, with more than 700 universities going test-optional. For many students, this is welcome news, but some are confused as to whether newly test-optional universities will stay test-optional, and whether submitting a test score will confer an advantage in the admissions process. Our white paper explores these topics in depth, and we encourage you to download our white paper to learn more about the trends at the heart of China's international education industry. You can find the download link below, and please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions.